7, the video edition for Wednesday, March 12th, 2014. I'm Frank Phillips reporting. Charlie German stepped down as the head coach of the North Montgomery High School Chargers on Tuesday. I was taken by surprise today when Mr. German personally delivered the news regarding his retirement from coaching football, said North Montgomery Superintendent Dr. Colleen Moran. It is evident that the decision to end a 41-year coaching career was weighed heavily by he and his wife, Diane. Charlie is legendary among Indiana high school football coaches. His dedication and hard work have built an outstanding football program here. German was the head coach for 25 years. He held that position from 1983 to 1999, and then again from 2006 to 2013, serving as athletic director between the two stints. He steps down with an enviable 174-94 record. The Chargers were state champions under his helm in 1995 and 96. He also led the Chargers to 6 Sagamore Athletic Conference titles and 3 sectional titles. We think the world of Coach German, and it will be sad to not see him on the sidelines, said high school principal Doug Miller. When I say I'm the principal of North Montgomery, Charlie German is one of the first names that comes up. That's who they associate North Montgomery with. North Montgomery Athletic Director Matt Marica said that the search for a new coach will begin immediately and that he would like to have a new coach in place by early May. I was dreading this day. I knew it was coming someday, but didn't know it would be so soon, Marica said. He's meant a great deal to the community, the football program, and the school. He has put his heart and soul into Charger athletics, and he will be missed. North Montgomery School Board member Teresa Hatke said, I'm shocked it takes a man of character and of belief in the program to step away, but that is the type of man he is. Dick Van Arsdale, another school board member, said he was devoted to North Montgomery and the young men he has coached and had devotion to the game and committed to doing things correctly. He's an excellent motivator and he could get kids to rise above. T.E. Scott knows how to make money. He's the owner of Crazy Man's Hideaway, a popular place for receptions and other parties nestled in the woods off US 136 near Veedersburg. He is also the Scott behind Scott Pet Products, a company he built for more than 20 years. And he has a message for high school students.
I'd like for the younger generation to know what they're getting into in the stock market and understand it from the simple facts and not to get drawn into the web of the fat cats, I call them. And that's my main thing, is educating them, because there's so much information that's very misleading.
Scott decided to take on the stock exchange, the traders, and the country's financial advisors when he realized what was at risk for his grandchildren and others of that generation. The risk is that they will think the stock market will make them money if they only study it. Scott said he believes the country would be better off if Wall Street crashed or otherwise went away because it drains wealth instead of creating it. He has produced a slideshow with Joey Lewis of Veedersburg and said he plans to show it to State Senator Phil Boots and State Representative Sharon Nagel, but his primary audience will be school children. The presentation is based on a statement Scott said was a quote of Warren Buffett, perhaps the leading expert on stock investments in the United States. According to Scott, Buffett said, no one can predict how the stock market will flow, up or down, any more than anyone can predict what a madman is going to do. The statement also says the more motion, that is buying and selling in the stock market, the more likelihood people will lose the money they have invested. In fact, Scott maintains the principle of zero net gain is true. That term means that all gains in the market will be offset by the same amount of losses. So who makes money in the stock market? The people he calls fat cats, those who get rich at the expense of others. He compares the stock market to a poker game. Nothing is produced at a poker game. Everyone brings money to the table. At the end of the game, some people will have more money than they brought, and some people will have less money than they brought, but the winnings and the losses will always balance out to zero if the winnings are added and the losses are subtracted, Scott said. Gambling does not produce wealth, and Scott concludes buying stocks is a gamble. There are expenses in investing, for example, commissions, that come out of the total amount invested by everyone, so the winnings in the stock market are outweighed by the losses after the investing expenses are totaled, he said. You cannot save enough money starting at age 18 to retire, Scott concluded. So, how can anyone save for the future? Stay out of debt and invest in real property. He used Crazy Man's Hideaway as an example. He borrowed money to buy the land and build the building on which it sits. He likened his real property to bank CDs or certificates of deposit. I can grow food here, I can live in the house, and I can sell it and get money out of it, he said. The stock market is different in that there is no guarantee the stock or mutual fund that is purchased will be worth anything to anyone when it comes time to sell, he said. A bank CD is different. He can turn in a CD and be paid the price on the certificate because it is a loan he makes to the bank for which they promise to pay him the amount he invested plus a certain percentage in return. A certain mutual fund company used to publish a poster with the price of its fund each year from the 1920s to the 1990s. The point was that even though the price of the fund went up and down, if a person kept their shares in the fund for 10 years, they would make money. Scott disagrees with that premise. If is the problem, he replied. He used another illustration he said came from Buffett. If someone purchased stock in Coca-Cola when the company began and kept it for 95 years, that stock would have been bought for less than $50 per share and now would be worth millions. What's wrong with that illustration? The problem is no one can say with any certainty that Coca-Cola or any other company in existence today will not go bankrupt in the next 95 years, Scott said. Whether or not Scott's slide presentation on investment gains traction remains to be seen. It is sure that many financial advisors and their companies will find reason to argue with his conclusions. Still, many of us were taught a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, and Scott would say you can cook and eat that bird, you can listen to it sing, or you can gather its eggs, and that's more than you can do with a stock certificate.